Screen time salutations to all you internet dwellers out there, and welcome to another episode of Screen Time Continuum. I am Nick, and I'm joined with the boys as always. Keelan, what is going on, man?
Not much, not much. It's a pretty decent Sunday out here. How about yourself?
Not too bad. Happy Sunday, and we got the mustard in. What's going on, Dijon?
I am good. How you guys doing so far? Well, it's
Can't complain. Could complain, but who cares?
Who cares, right?
Exactly. That's the fucked up thing about life.
Amen. Thank you guys so much for listening. We hope that you are having a wonderful evening, or anytime you're listening to this. We very much appreciate you all. Welcome to this episode of Screen Time Continuum. We are going to be talking about episodes 7 and 8 of Westworld. We are speeding up the timeline a little bit. We realized that we wouldn't get done with Westworld for like 2 months if we just kept going episode by episode. So we decided to double up for this one so that we can cover episode 7 and 8. And then next time we cover this, it'll be 9 and 10, and then we'll be done. So a little bit of background. Episode 7 is called Trompe de Léon, or Trompe Léol. Leo, some French shit. And then episode 8 is called Trace Decay. And I enjoyed these two episodes right off the bat. I think that there's some really interesting revelations that we're going to be talking about, and some key details that we get revealed in these two episodes. But I've seen this before. Dijon and Keelan have not, so we want to get their input on the immediate forefront of this. So, Keelan, first impressions of 7 and 8. Where you at?
Wow. Like, jaw-dropping wow. I can't really say... No, I lie. I was gonna say couldn't really say if it tied together anything from the previous, but one for sure thing was tied up. Wow, that's really for 7 and 8. That is my initial.
Yeah, strong episodes. A little bit of a lull in some of the characters, but then it really makes up for it in other characters where you're like, holy shit. Dijon, 7 and 8, first impressions.
I think 7 was my favorite, especially with that ending. Yeah. But it was some interesting progression.
Nice. And so I think we're just going to jump right into the episodes. So episode 7 starts off with Bernard and his son in the hospital. And Bernard is reading Alice in Wonderland to his son. And why don't we just take it away from there, Keelan? What did you think about the opening?
Man, I don't know. The opening was the opening of the episode 7. It was very clear who was going to be the main focus of the episode. But it was such a whirlwind. So we start with his son. That's traumatic. He pops out of his sleep, goes through the whole situation. He's at work. He's looking for Elsie. Oh, Elsie is on vacation. What?
Yeah. What?
Okay. But he just kind of okays it. But you could tell like the level of confusion was immense. And yeah, it's if I were Bernard, just in that situation alone, waking up thinking or dreaming about my son, which didn't seem like something he did often, apparently. And then going on to basically the only person that was keeping him grounded, keeping him anchored, is no longer there. I would have been scared just as in a normal everyday circumstance. If you could work at Walmart, if that circumstance was to happen to you, that's not the start of a good day.
Yeah, certainly not. This episode will tell you why all of that stuff happens at the beginning. What I did notice about this episode too is that it jumps around a lot. So I was taking down notes and stuff, and it's like you get like 3-minute scenes.
Yes.
And then it jumps to something else, and it's jumping to something else. Yeah.
It remind me of the 1990s O.J. Simpson story. Do you guys remember how that was formatted?
I don't think so.
So the movie that I want to say it was a made-for-TV movie, ABC.
Mm.
Well, I'm not sure exactly to what company, but I remember it was a made-for-TV movie, and it came out in different parts, and the movie literally would give you like the middle of the story, the end of the story,
Mm.
this part of the trial. All the
I
way
think that
back
was
to the
an
beginning.
FX. I think that was the FX special.
Maybe it was effects, but it was just funny because you would go from adulthood to retirement to the OJ Simpson story to the whole trial situation, then back to sometime in college when it's like, wait, what are we doing here? But then when by the time you get to the end and you let it all kind of settle in, you get the full picture and you're like,
Right. Yeah.
wow, that was done really crazily. And what that tells me is directors are masters of tapping into what speaks to the subconscious. Like that is their purpose, to take the material and have it convey to the eye what the subconscious is going to understand, not necessarily to the surface level intelligence of everything. Some people do it very well, some people don't. But I think that's what that is it's, I don't want to appeal to your ability to think this through. I want your morals and your integrity to tap into this storyline. And I think that's what that format does.
Yeah. It keeps you on your toes a little bit. It also helps you weave a story together without being obvious, I think, too, which kind of helps, especially with a show like this where like there's a secret behind every character pretty much.
Right.
And so, yeah, in order to not let those secrets on too quickly, you kind of have to break up all of their stories into bite-sized pieces so that you're not getting too much information at once. Yeah. I think that's.
And how do we remember it?
Yeah.
Honestly, for me, that's why it's a subconscious thing. Like it has to be something psychological about it, because they give us such small amounts of information, but somehow when they click back to it,
right,
we're right back into the story.
Yeah, it's good storytelling, definitely. And so we have Bernard that kind of is doing his thing, looking for Elsie, but then it snaps over to William, Dolores, and El Lazo on the train. And Dijon, did you want to add anything about the prior scene or this scene coming up?
William finally got it in.
Yes, he did.
He's been. Logan's like, you want to stop denying it, man.
You know what was weird to me, and we're gonna jump around because I was trying to think about how we were going to talk about these episodes, and I think it's good to kind of just talk about the characters, and that way we can talk about their entire arc throughout the episode. So yeah, we could talk about Dolores and William finally getting it in, which is weird because it happens right after he tells Dolores that he's getting married. And yeah, it's like,
hey, women only want a man they can't have, apparently.
And she just storms off, and then he's like, yeah, you know what? Why
not?
I am in a theme park.
If she can come in here and get banged by robots, might as well just get one in.
Yeah,
dropping that can for you.
Not like she's gonna get pregnant or anything.
No, that's true. That's true. Yeah. So they finally do the deed. I did like the sort of train car going through Ghost Nation. That was pretty cool. I got to hand it to the guy that plays Alonzo and Lawrence is a great actor. Like, I don't know, I like in particular in this episode, and obviously the episodes we've seen of him before, but I don't know, something just struck me about his performance, and he's very good.
I agree. I don't know, the one issue I had with the Dolores and William, I have to remember their names, the Dolores and William situation. So once they're progressing forward and they get ambushed, they get away, they get ambushed again, they get away, right. And then they part ways with El Lazo. But then it's almost like Dolores was ultra cognizant, like she was Ultron level cognizant for a moment. And then it's like she almost regressed the moment another host kind of was boosted to the level of the maximum host.
Or you mean Maeve?
Yes.
Oh,
I
yeah.
kind of feel like there's something happened when she was boosted. I feel like Dolores wasn't as special to the algorithm.
Oh yeah, yeah. I think that what's happening with Maeve and Dolores is kind of similar but very different. Whereas like Maeve is kind of doing everything on the back end, Dolores is going through something, and you can tell that she's gone through this situation before because she keeps having flashbacks, and she knows that she's supposed to be at a place, you know, like, and she thinks that Arnold's going to meet her there or something like that.
Right.
And so, yeah, like she's going through some sort of similar process that's like unlocking, memories and stuff like that, programs, all that stuff. Whereas Maeve is kind of accessing it on the back end, where she's like, you know, now that she's got like omniscience, she can just access anything whenever she wants.
Yeah, we'll get to that in a minute because that's crazy.
Right.
And that's the other thing with Dolores is as they get to where she's saying she's supposed to meet Arnold, that town is buried. I didn't realize that at first. Like we've gotten flashes of that town through Ford. We understand that's where Ford is kind of programming his new storyline. But I didn't realize that it was a buried town and like everything's under the dirt.
Right.
And so I'm sure there may be other hosts and other things under there.
Right.
Maybe,
Well,
I was going to say maybe that's Arnold's grave.
Interesting. Well, yeah, we did see Ford with that giant excavator, right? So you got to imagine that he's either pushing dirt or taking dirt away somewhere. Yeah. And
he controls with his mind.
Yes, he controls everything with his mind, which is pretty fantastic. And so kind of away from Dolores and William, because they don't have very much going on in this episode, episode 7. It's just the train and then escaping the train and leaving El Lasso. But then we kind of get this exchange with Teresa, you know, in Westworld, where she checks in with Bernard and then she goes and talks with Charlotte Hale.
Well, I like when she talks with Bernard initially. Well, before I get in on that, Dejan, you have anything to say about Teresa and Bernard?
I sincerely feel bad for both of them in this episode where it's like towards the very end when Bernard realized what is going on, it's like, oh. And you kind of get a gist of it at the very end when he takes Teresa to that little cabin. You know, he's like, the hopes can't see, such and such and such. You know, there's a lot of things that's naked to the eye based off of certain factors. And he was just like, what room? And I was like, oh, shit. All right. I'm about to see where this is going now. And I was just very surprised they went that way. And I sincerely feel bad for Bernard as a whole from the beginning, where it's like, I don't know, that hit some stuff for me, you know, because I mean, I guess I can relate to that, you know, with me being a father, and I'm like, you never want to see your kid in pain. And it's one thing my father always told me. He's like, the worst thing in life is to see your child in pain, but beyond your child in pain is to know that your child goes before you. In that as you get older, you will see what I mean, and you're going to be the one to always wish and want to go first before that. And I'm like, okay, but I don't know. This from that beginning emotionally, I'm like, damn, that hits to that end where he was just like, what the fuck, dude? You know, I was thinking, I'm like, damn, the Empty Man was done better.
That's funny.
And it was like that's fucked up. And I was just like, then, you know, next to that, Teresa is just, I sincerely felt bad. From the previous episode, I'm like, all right, move on, bitch. You're using people for your own personal gain through this company. But in this thing, I just sincerely feel bad for her because she's legitimately in the crossfire of just being a tool on both sides.
Yeah, she's a pawn.
Yep. Yep.
Wow.
Big time. And that's what she kind of finds out. That's what we as an audience find out when she goes to visit Charlotte Hale.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Visiting Charlotte was probably
bitch.
I don't know if I could say one of the colder moments of the show so far.
Oh, she kind of psycho, huh? Yeah, she kind of psycho.
I like it.
She's beating the shit out of Hector and then just like, come on in.
Right. Like you need that in a show kind of though. Especially in a show of this level, this magnitude. Like you need that human that is just as off their rocker as these hosts can be. Someone who seemingly needs something or someone to control it.
Right.
But I don't think the hosts are mainly off the rockers. I think the hosts are just confused where it's like the humans are off the fucking rocker. Like you guys are the one that's been tucked in this shit. So for Charlotte's character, it was pretty normal. I mean, this is just my perspective on it. She's like, this is pretty normal. It's like, hey, I'm walking in, you just come in. I'm just playing with my vibrator. Get in here.
Right.
What's going on?
Yeah.
That's about it. I mean,
do I need to put a robe on or you good?
You good. You good. Yeah. You want a drink?
Yeah. That is a good commentary because I think that that's a through commentary and through theme for Westworld, which is this concept that we look at the hosts as inhuman, but the humans display themselves as inhuman more often than the hosts do.
Right. I think that's a big message that is just, I wouldn't even say hidden, but it's woven into this show. Being able to really look inside, like self-reflection is very important.
Yeah.
And it seems, but you have characters like Charlotte, who seemingly she knows who she is and has no problem with the vile levels she's willing to go to. Versus a lot of the clients like William, who seems to be discovering how far they're willing to go. And then you even have like the man in black who has admitted in this episode, or excuse me, in these episodes, that he was once, kind of naive, so to speak. And then life kind of fell in his lap the way it did. And it's like, oh, I didn't have to be so humble and so nice this whole time. Like I could have just been a nastier person.
Man, William's still a bitch.
William's still a bitch? What happened?
He's still a bitch.
How you figure?
Still a bitch.
Okay, hey. They needed to.
Yeah, I guess he hasn't necessarily
because I look at Logan character like
him.
That's gonna be him in and out. He don't give a fuck. That's him in Westworld and out of Westworld into the real world. And I'm just like, William is just like,
William's not authentically himself.
He's that peer pressure kid. Like, I'll smoke some of the weed, but I don't think I want to. I'll smoke the weed, but I won't. But I will. But I won't.
The weed.
The peer pressure, man.
Right.
Mommy, I had to do it. They wouldn't be my friends.
No, that is a good point. I think Logan is authentically himself, and you even do see him in episode 8. And I like that he's wearing like a Hand of the King pin. It looks like a Hand of the King pin, anyways. But yeah, it was interesting to see kind of like, well, now what's going to happen because Dolores and him are getting captured by the Confederados.
The Confederados, to be honest, in a minute. What?
Yeah.
The what? The Confederates? Are we switching this? What's interesting about that is my subtitles had accidentally switched to Spanish right before that happened. And I was just like, is that a part of the... Let me check my settings again. Hold on.
Right. Oh, yeah, they are just Confederate soldiers that went to Mexico.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And that's what I had to put together. Like, maybe Westworld is in Mexico, and so they kind of have that...
It's kind of like Red Dead Redemption's map, where like the bottom part of it is like Mexico. You know what I mean?
Okay.
I mean, that's the way I see it anyways, because it's like it's partly in Arizona, it's partly in like, like New Mexico, Texas-y.
Tejas, yeah.
Tejas.
Never played the Red Dead game.
Oh, dude. You've never
Tony
played
Stark
Red Dead?
or you
You're
lie.
you're replaying the old trilogy of GTA, but you're not playing Red
But you're not
Dead.
playing Red Dead, right?
I'm gonna put
Come
GTA on a
on,
hiatus.
you got it,
But
man.
To a cleaner version come out November.
Right,
a game, right? A game that Rockstar actually put their work and sweat and blood and tears into.
crap ton of work into that game. It's
Yes,
incredible.
I've never played it.
Wow,
Never.
you got to get on it, man. It's one of the better open world action shooters out there for sure.
Okay.
And yeah, so let's see where can we go from here. We got Teresa and Hale in the room. We find out that Teresa was trying to smuggle the data out of the park, and that's why this whole data breach thing is happening, because the board is wanting to get rid of Ford, but they're worried that Ford's going to delete everything when he gets fired. So they're like, we got to get that shit.
Right. What did you guys think of the display? What initially? I know what I thought initially. Dijon, what did you think initially of the Clementine simulation? Starting from them picking her up out of the bar. For me, that's where it started.
It was interesting because it was like the moment you were like, like you're kind of rooting for her, but at the same time you're kind of like, you're stupid. Like you can be going at this much more. Like you don't get it. You're just kind of like, how would you say it? It's like a primal instinct. I mean, she's definitely exhibiting what most people do. You know, they go into this primal instinct, or they just act thinking like, let me see, what's the best antidote for this? They're basically saying, you know what, I'm gonna do what I want and not give no fucks of the repercussion, because guess what, it's just like a YOLO moment for her, where it's like, I'm gonna end up here, but it's like, no, there is another level of consequence here. So it's just like, it feels like she's trying to be smart, but she's also still being very reckless. But we'll see how that plays out to her. And in that moment with the Clementine, it was like, oh shit, I think I just got caught. Like, you've been smuggling out that $5 from your mother's purse, thinking like, I'm not gonna get caught. I'm gonna like, what do you call it? What's her name again? Maeve. And like, oh shit, Mama knows. Mama knows. Ashley. Oh, that's Ashley. Oh, Ashley got. Or in this case, Clementine. Oh, that's Clementine. I don't give a fuck. Take her.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, well, I thought that was a really good. I thought Ford's silence through the whole thing was really good. Yeah, because you couldn't tell what he was thinking until later in the episode.
Yeah, he was. I realized he was calculating through something. I just didn't know what it was that he was observing, because he didn't seem moved at all.
I think he was just acting. I think that was just, he is the perfect actor. I think he definitely just knows how to do it. And I think we kind of see that in the next episode, where he's telling Bernard, where he's like, no. You do it like this.
You do it like this.
You do it like this, You take the glasses, you clean it. Like, the dude is the perfect actor. And knowing that he knew all of this from the beginning to the end, and he basically fucking orchestrated all these things from the affair to how it is. Basically, he knew what was going on, and he just had to keep that silence. He couldn't break character, or they would know something. Because what's her name? Tessa Thompson character was just like,
oh, Clementine was
like, this is not bathing you. What? Like,
she's there. She's definitely there to simply analyze Ford. Nothing else matters. Everything else she can figure out. She is the Liam Neeson, it seems, of the corporation.
Yeah, she's definitely trying to smear Ford and set up the grounds to get him kicked out, basically. And Ford obviously sees right through it. He knows what she's up to, but she thinks she's slick. That's the thing, is that she thinks she's slick. She doesn't know that, you know, Ford is the puppet master behind all of it.
Right.
Which is fucked. Which is, it's like, it's brilliant but fucked up. Like, beyond all this, I'm just loving Ford more and more. Villain, he's like the villain, but not so villainly person you can love or hate in this series. And it's at the same time, it's like, bitch, I heard the conversation you and this chick was having. And he's like, the blood sacrifice. I was like, you know what's about to happen?
Yeah.
But punch.
He knows. Yeah. Slammed her.
God damn.
No, when he said blood sacrifice, I don't care what nobody says. I heard the serpent's tongue in Hannibal.
Oh yeah. He's
like,
got that seriousness, man.
Mm-hmm.
He's so good at that quiet, like, seriousness.
Hey man, it's in the eyes.
That moment sincerely brought me straight back to Let There Be Blood with that bowling ball.
Yeah. Just Paul Dano just running around screaming.
We probably might get to see him get popped in his face in the Batman movie.
That's right. Yeah, he's going to be the Riddler. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
He has a punchable face, so it works.
Ooh, you so punchable.
Yeah.
I'm gonna drink your milkshake, man.
If I have a straw, my straw reaches way over there.
Drainage, Eli.
We could definitely watch that again and do a whole nother episode on
it. Yeah.
No, screw the movie. I just want to see that ending.
The end is great.
Ending alone.
Yeah.
Ending alone.
Look, we'll watch the last 30 minutes of all of our top movies and rate just that.
There you go. We'll definitely have to have an episode where it's like the best scenes from all the movies we reviewed, and we'll have to rank them for sure. That'll be a lot of fun.
Jason Sudeikis socking and
yeah, just
God.
clobbering her, yeah, or that, yeah, for sure.
It's sad that really is why was that scene so good? It wasn't supposed to be
because it was funny.
I think that's okay.
Yeah.
And because
Loki
they're good
getting
actors
repeatedly
on top of that.
socked in the penis.
Yes, kicked in the nuts over and over again. Yeah.
All right, let me explain now. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Oh yeah. So I was just gonna say, before we get to the sort of final parts of this episode 7, I do want to say that Maeve is basically deciding that she wants to escape the park.
Yeah,
and that's her master plan to get out of Westworld. She wants out. She wants to leave, and she's gonna have Felix and Sylvester help her out with that.
Right. So what gets me is what triggers her to want that. And that's where the whole Clementine demonstration starts that up for me. So she had already convinced them to take her upstairs because she's looking for Clementine after she was picked up. We see the demonstration. She sees the demonstration. And then, no, sorry, she doesn't see the demonstration. After the demonstration, she sees the lobotomy. Yeah, she sees the lobotomization, which I think is nuts. Like, you've created these things that you have to actually lobotomize to immobilize.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's fucked up.
That's crazy. And that's sadistic as shit. Like,
right.
You've worked to make this sinister.
Yeah. Well, and I think that this episode, and then I guess the next episode, and really the rest of the season, it's going to touch upon this topic of, like, because I think Bernard talks to, that's the episode 8 where Bernard is talking to Ford about, like, if I'm feeling these feelings, how are they any different than the feelings that you have?
Yeah.
And it becomes this really weird thing where it's like, well, how can you justify doing this to the hosts when you've made them so lifelike that they're almost human? They're only not human. Yeah, exactly. They're only not human because you made them from code. That's it.
But other than that, they're human.
Yeah.
They're as human as you can be. And get more human than the humans because the average human is trapped in a cycle of control.
Yep. Loops, like Ford said.
Then after that, we can just go and watch Blade Runner.
There you go. Yeah.
Wow.
You know, I tried to watch Blade Runner a couple weeks ago. I fell asleep. I don't know.
I'm gonna be honest. I don't like Blade Runner 1 or 2. It's boring as hell, and there's certain things that just don't make sense.
Very slow.
and I'm not in the mood to rewatch and shit to try to make sense of it.
Mhm.
Would it being that slow?
Yes. Well, speaking of Harrison Ford, I'm definitely going to request that we, for one of my turns in the future, we review
Indiana Jones, Crystal Skull.
Another one.
No,
The
Temple
nuke
of
the
Doom.
fridge. Nuke the fridge, man.
No, man, Temple of Doom. I want to watch.
Temple
I
of
want to
Doom.
watch Temple of Doom so bad.
Gotta do it.
Yeah.
I'm gonna just throw this out here too. I've never seen any of the Indiana Jones movies, but Crystal Skull.
Dude.
Isn't Temple of Doom a short round?
Yes, it is. Yes. Yeah. All right. We're definitely going to do that. I'm definitely going to set that up at some point. We'll watch Indiana Jones.
Are they all on Disney Plus since they're Lucas films?
They sure are. They sure are. But then we get to the scene where Bernard's fired and Ford has his confrontation with Teresa.
Dude ain't
Man,
fired.
that was
He's
icy.
still walking around there like, "What's up?"
Yeah. Hey, I know that you guys fired me, but can I show you something really quick?
Right. That was what I was about to say. I'm like, they fired him, but he never lost any of his clearances that whole day.
Nah,
That was the only thing I was thinking. I was like, how has he not lost any of his clearances?
It's like my job. Yeah, I'm gonna be that person. I don't give a fuck if anybody from my job is listening or not. They'll take like a month or two for you to lose your clearance through the system. I'm just like,
upgrade your security.
Hmm.
Hey man, some places are just like that. Some places let you keep keys for years and never recall them, and then by the time they figure out 40 people got the key, they just replace them.
Who robbed who?
Mm-hmm.
All right.
What happened to the fax machine?
Look, it's not until the guy who's worked there for 6 months gets in trouble.
Yeah. So, did you guys see that coming? Did you see Teresa biting the dust like that?
I did kind of from Ford. I expected Ford to do something to her. I did not expect it to come the way it came. And I'm gonna tell you where I think she went wrong. You were looking through these papers and these schematics. You probably would be alive if you hadn't decided to show Bernard that he was a host.
Right.
The moment you made it clear that you knew that and you were willing to tell Bernard. And I love how the entrance of Ford came up where it's like, what does these mean to you? And it's like, I don't see anything. They can't see things that would hurt them.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And exactly. And you know what? I watched that scene 3 times over the last 10 minutes just to catch that. And it's like, but it's not, that's kind of weird. You can't say if she never took him down there because Ford was like, no, I told him to take you down there. Like, he doesn't have control.
It was Ford for sure.
Ford knew nothing that she said or nothing that Bernard saw was going to change the fact that Bernard is already his
Bernard doesn't have any fight back. I don't think, it is kind of cool to have that conversation afterwards where he's talking to Ford and he's like, Ford asks him, he's like, you're in a really unique position right now. You're a host that knows they're a host and you know the inner workings of all the code. Like, what's that feel like? And I do like Bernard's response where he's like, well, I don't understand these emotions that I'm feeling. And, why are my emotions different than yours?
Right.
I think that's really an interesting question because I don't know. I mean, it's kind of like you asked the question of like, if you were able to put your consciousness into a robot that lived forever, is that still you?
Right.
I don't know.
I can't. An age-old question, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not sure.
And what's interesting about that is from the moment of Bernard finding out what he is, you see the difference.
Mm-hmm.
And immediately, not just from the interactions with Ford, of course, because now you see Ford treating him as a host.
Mm-hmm.
But even that interaction with Stubbs, where the effects of what Ford has erased is apparent to a human now.
Right.
It's like, hey, it was my job to kind of know these things. I'm sorry for your loss. And we were merely colleagues.
Right.
Boy, if you don't get
I mean, player. Yeah.
Or even Elsie. Really quick, but even in response to Elsie, like Elsie was like a kid to him.
Mm-hmm.
It's like it's
Well,
dark.
yeah. I mean, basically, Ford is just frying his brain over and over every time he has them do something terrible.
Right.
You know,
his own personal army. He already has it.
Mm-hmm. Pretty much, yeah. Bernard's his like enforcer.
Right.
You
He's
know?
Hitman 47.
Pretty much. I like how he took off his tie and
That
he just took off his
I was
jacket,
like,
put it down nice.
we're like,
right.
damn, bro.
That's what made me think of Hitman 47.
Mhm.
Make some fucking you doing that shit all nice and elegant and shit.
They gonna shave Bernard's head. He gonna have a barcode on the back of his joint. Watch.
Dude.
And I think the actor's name's Jeffrey Wright.
Jeffrey
if I
Wright.
recall. Yeah, he's
Motherfucking Watcher.
great. Yeah,
Watch.
he's a great
Jim
actor.
Gordon.
Oh, good. He does look kind of like a Jim Gordon.
He's the
type.
Watcher and Jim Gordon.
He's the Watcher in What If, and he's he's great in What If. That's the only reason why I stuck to watch that shit because
Because he narrates. Because the Watcher narrates every damn thing.
and he gets down and dirty in that shit too. And he's gonna be playing what do you call it, Commissioner Gordon in the next Batman movie. So I'm hyped to see that.
So you're gonna be talking to Robert Pattinson like
You're gonna be looking down at him.
Right. We needed you, Bat.
Yeah. We needed you, Bat Boy.
Did you see the light? Glad you could show. Well, I'm sorry. No. I'm sorry. We gotta hit him with that deeper register. I'm glad you could show up. We had some bank heists. We didn't know if you would show.
I'll tell you this. I don't care if this sound weird, but seeing him come off the table and shit, I'm just like, that dude is lean. I was thinking Jeffrey Wright was like probably a bit chubby, but I'm like, nah.
No, he's ripped, dude.
He's fucking lean.
He's super ripped. Yeah.
That punch.
Yeah.
Damn,
Push.
we'll call that shit. You just got
He's
the
a boxing in another life.
But yeah, so I mean, after we have that scene in episode 8 where Bernard's trying to snap out of it and then he gets his memory wiped, we see that Clementine has been replaced with fake Clementine.
Yeah.
No, of course not. Nobody likes it. Nobody likes fake Clementine. Everybody hates fake Clementine.
No one likes a blonde.
Yeah.
No, I just think it's everybody loved Clementine so much. It's like, nah, you can't replace her like that. Just give her a different name. Why'd they have to give her the same name?
Yeah, and then they recast her and put her in the Remembrance.
They could at least made this one Tangerine.
That's right. Tangerine. But yeah, so then we kind of see Maeve start to use her. Oh no, she doesn't do that yet.
She hasn't had it yet. Yeah, no,
right. That's in this episode where she starts to.
So we see the switch out, and Maeve is pretty much just kind of like taken aback by it. It's like giving her these waves and memory, and she's not really able to focus. It seems like. It's like she goes to the guys, and that's when she's really just like snapping out. And then that's when we click to just her back with the fellas. And it's like, yo, I need allies. Like, I need to build an army. And that's that whole argument. And that's when she goes up and sees the lobotomization of the actual. That's when she sees the lobotomization. So she had only known that the other Clementine was gone. And then, because they had come to pick her up. And then she saw the replacement, and then she saw the lobotomization.
Right. Well, and then she goes up to the behavioral floor to get her reboot.
Right. Which that was a whole nother. I don't know. Sometimes with her going to the upper floors, I'm just like, all right, that's
sus. Yeah.
Oh,
what are these butchers doing with a pad and walking a host? They don't do that.
Right. A hyper naked host.
Right.
So that's why I was saying it's kind of like, are you stupid? What bugs me too, I'm like, this is just logic, but I can understand how logic is not going to be there because of the part of the storytelling for this show. Is like, is butchers sincerely assigned to certain hosts every time, or is whoever is available to who? Or is like, do they get to pick?
Yeah, that's a good question.
Right.
I was thinking the same thing. The log is going to show that you guys are the only ones tending to make.
Exactly.
Over and over again. Yeah.
I think
unless, and I'll throw this wrench in. Oh, go ahead.
But the thing is, you did see Maeve play dumb long enough to the chick. There was a chick in that episode 7, that was working on her with Felix, and
Oh yeah, she
he
played
sent her up.
sleep or
So
out.
it seemed like they kind of like, forgive this little plot hole or whatever.
Unless, and then I want to throw this wrench in because I don't know if this is true or not, but this might be in my own head canon. Maybe Maeve's path was already planned out. Maybe it was supposed to happen the way it's happening.
It's possible. Look at the way everything else is happening.
That's what I'm saying is like when we find out that, Ford is orchestrating all this other stuff, does he have a hand in Maeve's awakening, quote unquote?
Right. And something else, a theory I have about these 2 episodes, it starts to seem to me as if Ford is the one trying to unlock Arnold's big secret.
Yeah. What do you guys think that secret is?
Cognition. It's the ability
consciousness.
Literally the ability to release the host from the bonds that make them host, like we were saying a minute ago, and allow them to have real human experiences. Wow, I cannot make that correlation. But
you found the maze, man.
Yeah.
Nice. I'm serious. That's exactly what the maze is.
Oh, nice. See?
Yeah.
It makes sense, though. It's really what this seems like, because even think about the story we hear from, and I'm going to have to jump to another character really quick, the Man in Black, in his situation. And just the way we are described his endeavors to become the person that is currently trying what he's trying to find the maze, and why is the maze so important to him. He doesn't necessarily want to live forever. He just wants to know that something else is going on in the world that has a purpose that's much larger than a purpose he thought he was serving, when he still didn't get anything he wanted at the end of it all.
Or maybe he wants a suicide by host.
Could be that too.
I mean, because he does say in the 8th episode, when he talks about the maze to him is this concept that the hosts can finally hurt you. And that's that when you actually interact, you're actually doing something. So he actually just wants to kill people, and he would be happy if one of the hosts probably, I guess I would assume that he would just, like, from what he said in that episode, it seems like he's like, yeah, I want to see if one of these hosts can finally kill me. So
I felt nothing.
Yeah, that was a pretty heavy sort of story. Find out that his wife offed herself, basically,
right?
And he just went back to the park to see if he could feel anything, and so that's why he murdered Maeve and Maeve's daughter.
Child. Yeah. Now to rewind a little back for me, Ford seemed boastful in the Teresa autopsy, no?
Oh yeah, he was checking Hale so hard. I loved that. I loved it because she thought she had won, and then he was like, "Oh yeah, by the way, that whole thing was a hoax because I looked at the code and I saw all your grubby little fingerprints on it."
Bitch.
Yeah. And then he puts her in the position of being like, well, and of course now we're going to reinstate Bernard, and I'm going to be taking over Q&A, and like I'm taking all the control back.
Like, oh, I'm sure you guys will figure it out. Let me know when you do.
Yeah.
I'll take care of it until then.
Right.
And
no, I thought that was a good flex.
Teresa. Right. I don't think he wanted to kill Teresa, but once you put him in that position, it's like, oh, I will.
Right. He was happy just leaving her, letting her be like kind of bossy and, like pretending like she was making a difference. The moment she actually tried to take the thing from him, that's when he was like, all right, well, now you got to die. So.
Now you have to die.
Well, that's why he's not trying to kill Hale, because he thinks that Hale he's more amused by Hale than, feels threatened by her.
And I think she hasn't been there long enough. I even like the way they played that out, making sure she had the equipment that she was supposed to be with and putting her in the same space. And it was one of those situations where you think to yourself, the moment they found out she was involved, they knew how they would offer.
For sure. What else happens? I didn't take very many notes for episode 8 because I was just so enthralled with the story. I was like, I totally forgot. I forgot to take notes.
And episode 8 ratchets it up pretty bad. I understand.
Yeah, it does.
My notes for episode 8 versus episode 7 are much shorter.
Right.
That's why I literally said I was like, I was more involved with episode 7 than 8. I was like, oh.
So what else happens in 8? I'm blanking. We know that Maeve gets her upgrade.
Right, Maeve gets her upgrade. We have
fucked up to say. I literally just watched these episodes and I already forgot.
I know.
Wow.
Yeah, like I remember 7 more than anything else. That was just like all the twist is kind of out.
Well, a lot of this episode was the back and forth of Bernard and Ford, Maeve getting her new abilities and then changing code commands, and we see that.
Yes.
And then the only other real thing in this episode, other than the Man in Black telling his story, is Dolores and William being attacked, and that's really the beginning. And we don't really get much more of them after that.
Right. Oh yeah. So Ted
and Stubbs, when Stubbs and Bernard had their discussion, I think that was probably one of the more pivotal moments in the episode.
Oh yeah, because now Stubbs is kind of being like, "What's going on here?"
And again, like he said, it's his job to notice stuff like that.
And he seems like a nosy fuck, so you know. But yeah, so the Man in Black and Teddy get ambushed by Wyatt's men, so they're now in the hands of Wyatt, and the Man in Black is now fully in the hands of Wyatt. So that's exactly where he wanted to be. So,
Teddy can grab balls and boom, Teddy's back to basic bitch.
Oh yeah, I did kind of like that he remembered the Man in Black for a minute.
Yeah,
and he was like, "I do remember one thing, you," and just pistol whips him.
Fuck you up.
While you were out, I thought of a way to make you talk.
Yeah, just starts socking him.
I'm like, oh, they didn't have truth serum back then. You know, just hit him with an injection.
Well, I think it's also funny that he's breaking his protocol.
I don't think he is. See, I think the closer you get to
the maze, because he got rebooted to the Wyatt storyline.
Yeah, and I think when you're a part of that storyline, the closer you get to the maze, that is a more volatile storyline.
And the more you can get hurt.
Now they won't kill you, like the Man in Black said. You can't kill me, but I know how to
you
change
can beat the crap out of me. Yeah.
And he said that as he's punching on him, so it's like, oh, okay, so him beating on him is normal.
Right. Yeah, that makes sense. For sure.
And you think about Logan got pretty roughed up too.
Yes, he did. And he is pissed.
Oh yeah.
Sending people to kill.
Yeah. He's got his Confederado buddies. He basically just grew an army.
He paid extra.
He paid extra for sure. He got the DLC pack.
Who buys the game and spends an extra $200 the same day? Gosh,
that's come right. On, yeah. He wanted all the skins, man. He wanted all the skins.
And then Westworld is probably a couple hundred thousands.
You're right. Oh yeah. In Westworld, it's probably at least 100,000.
Well, they've been there for at least a week, right?
Oh, that's $1 million trip.
Easy.
That company is probably like
Delos.
All the holes that Logan's filled, definitely $1 million trip.
Oh yeah, I know, right? But yeah, so I mean, you know, episode 8 was kind of a cool down from what episode 7 was. So not a whole lot happens in that. Do you guys have anything else you wanted to remark about episode 8? Because I wanted to get your guys' predictions, because next week we'll be talking about the entirety of the season,
right?
And so we should get some predictions off before we do that.
Quick question: are we going to be rating these at the end? Are we going to rate the season for the hell of it or not?
We could do a season rating. I would say, you know, like rate the season overall.
Can I say, did we do those for like Loki and Falcon?
Yes,
and things like that.
Yes,
we
sir.
Did.
Yep.
Holy shit.
I have them too. Yeah.
Okay.
Lucky was not as high as you want it to be.
Oh yeah, Lucky wasn't that great. Poor Lucky.
First and last episode for me.
I'm
gonna be honest. I mean, out of all the Disney Plus things, I tell people I sincerely enjoyed Falcon and Winter Soldier more than any of them. And people look at me weird. I'm like, WandaVision was kind of a snore for me to the very end.
I enjoyed WandaVision for its motifs, but yeah, I agree.
It was the decapitation in that speech for me in Falcon Winter Soldier.
Oh, right.
Pair those two things together, great series.
Loki's at a 7.3. I think we need to revise that.
I mean, I don't think Loki was terrible. We liked the ending. Let's be real. Kang really saved that thing.
It got you hyped for other shit like Marvel really does. Yeah. I'm going to hype you up so you can come watch our other shit.
It's funny because Loki is the thing that killed Marvel for me. I mean, I haven't watched a Marvel thing since Loki.
Don't do it.
I won't. I'm waiting for Spider-Man, and that's it, I think.
Right. That was definitely that overstimulation moment. Like, oh, you doing good. You're doing good. You're doing too good. Now I don't feel
Black Widow was what killed it for me.
You know, like
what if was okay.
Their Spanish Russian accents.
No, stop it. You're making fun of old cleaning Hispanic ladies like in Family Guy.
Oh,
I don't know if I'm making fun of them. And Consuela's, that's still one of my favorite characters in Family Guy. Mr. Superman.
No, Mr. Superman, no here.
But, I think Shang-Chi, seeing Shang-Chi really, it didn't make me hyped about what's going on. I think Spider-Man's going to do it for me, but Shang-Chi was a breath of fresh air beyond everything else. Movie-wise.
Yeah. Spider-Man's a closer, though. It's closing out the trilogy. So, I mean, like, I just don't know, man. I think Marvel is hobbling a little bit. Spider-Man's their last thing this year, and then next year they're going to have a slate of things, but I don't know, man.
Next year is going to be popping. You got Doctor Strange picking up right after Spider-Man.
Yeah, I guess I'm all right with that. I'm looking forward to Love and Thunder just because the Guardians are in it.
Next to that, and then you got
the Eternals. I want to see that.
It's already out. You can watch it right now.
Oh, didn't know. Yeah, I guess same with I didn't realize when Venom came out. So
Venom.
Stop it, both of you guys.
Oh, sorry.
No.
I forgot you said he had a new song for it. I gotta go hear the new song and then I can.
New song is way better. Eternals is next week Friday.
Oh, okay. It's not out yet.
Oh, okay, it's not out. See,
I'll go see it.
I won't.
I'll let you guys know how
boring. I don't want to see Angelina Jolie. I just don't.
It's funny. She is definitely not one of the people I'm looking forward to in that movie.
Was it Selma Hayek?
No.
No.
Not saying that I'm not looking forward to either one of them in any way, but
it's a Disney movie. You won't see nothing.
They're all wearing like rubber suits. I'm so tired of the rubber suit thing. Why does everybody wear a rubber suit?
Have you never seen The Nutty Professor? Spandex.
All spandex. Yep. Great
That's
movie.
the answer.
Yep. All right, so let's get to predictions for the last two episodes of WestWorld. So we can be ready to recall them for the next time we review.
Well, for me,
do it.
My predictions are heavily about the Man in Black and Maeve. I think that is a storyline that really just started their connection and how that memory exists. From his end, her not knowing his end, but they have a similar goal. So I think at some point they're either going to come face to face or they are going to be working in unison without knowing. And then when they do come face to face, she's going to be the person that satiates his need for death.
Interesting.
Dolores and William, no clue where that's going. They could really just stop it where it's at. Okay, they boned and leave it alone.
Call it a day.
Yeah, because honestly, I never really cared for the Dolores and William storyline. It doesn't intrigue me like that. And I don't think it has too much of a. There's nothing really you could change about it. There's nothing you can add to it. It's just distressed ass Dolores at this point, and
yeah,
you know.
you know, I'm distressed. I'm confused. I'm
Yeah,
feeling all
distressed and
wimpy and bitched
confused.
out.
Yeah.
You know, I've been made fun of this whole trip. So let's just do this.
Yeah, I will say I don't blame you guys for that. It's kind of the weaker part of the season, I
Right.
guess.
And she ain't told him
Yeah.
about Teddy one time, so you know she's a hoe.
Right? What's up with that? Teddy's just gone out of her mind.
What's a Theodore and what's Teddy doing? Dolores.
I will say that once we finish the season, I'll be interested to see if you guys change your take on that at all, but we'll see. Because, you know, there's more. Obviously, there's 2 more episodes, but yeah, a lot of confusion right now. So
yeah, definitely a lot of confusion. And again, with Ford, I expect the he and Arnold saga to come to be more full circle, and I expect us to finally discover, because it's the end of this season at least, to finally discover the truth about that. Ford definitely had something to do with Arnold's death, and or at least disappearance. Maybe he's not dead and he has him locked away somewhere.
right. Yeah.
For real.
Maybe.
He's like all chained up and shit in the chair. Like, here's the mail. Hannibal Lecter style. Like,
for real. Look, listen. You can create full
that's
civilizations. Yeah, you can create full civilizations with natural, basically humans. You know, that are bound by code because they don't really have the willpower. They weren't born with willpower, but they can be gifted it. What's to stop you from locking somebody up in a chair and popping something into their vein that's just gonna keep them fed?
We thought that was gonna be Elsie, but Elsie got choked out.
She did get choked out.
She did get choked out, but we don't know if she did.
Oh, Bernard's brutal. Yeah,
one shot. That's the one punch man right there.
That's right,
man. That's
slam. Then he's fucking master locking people and choking them out and shit.
Right, that flash of that was interesting as well. What I noticed, really quick, while we're still on Bernard, I haven't seen. They didn't show any flashes of him assaulting any men.
Yeah, he definitely assaults women.
That bothered me a little bit.
Yeah.
But it also made me think because that's nowhere in any of his memories. He has all these memories of his son, but that seems to be the only memory he has. And then that discussion with his ex-wife. I'm thinking that's something programmed into him already. So when he goes to make these calls, this video comes up of this other program.
Or it was just a memory that he had, just like the memory of his son. His son didn't exist.
A false memory. Yeah. Okay.
I'm telling you, they pulled an empty man, dude.
They did pull an empty man.
Yeah, they definitely did. He was created by us.
Except with a lot more build up and more Easter eggs, because now you can go back and watch the first 6 episodes and you'll be like, oh, that's why that thing happened. Right. Yeah.
Imagine if the empty man would have this much depth.
Right.
Even though that shit was what it was, it should have been a TV series.
You know what the empty man should have adopted? One of us.
That shit was in my head. Both of those things are just like echoing in my head. Watching that movie, I was like, "Fuck this!" And I was thinking Children of the Corn and shit with the kids.
Oh right, yeah. Why were they all pale too? They were all really pale.
They were dead.
They were dead. They must have been. They all look like corpses. All right. Well, you guys have anything else you wanted to add for episode 7 and 8?
I think that's all I got. Yeah.
Sounds good. Yeah, that's good with me too. Cool. You all good to wrap up then?
Sounds about right.
I'm looking forward to the next time we have this chat, because there's so many things I want to be able to tell you guys.
Next week Wednesday.
Next week Wednesday, we'll be able to talk about all the things.
Oh shit, November 3rd. Yes. Damn. Oh shit.
Time flies.
I'll talk to you guys about that date offline.
Yes. For sure. No problem. All right. Well, thank you guys so much for listening. We very much appreciate it. We hope that you guys enjoyed this episode, this retake, this review, if you will, of episode 7 and 8 of Westworld. I know I certainly enjoyed it. Please feel free to give us a thumbs up and leave us a comment if you have any things that we might have missed in these 2 episodes. No spoilers, please. These guys haven't seen the last 2 episodes of Westworld, so... but if you enjoyed, please consider giving us a subscription to our YouTube page. It would really help us out. Screen Time Continuum on YouTube. We're also a part of the Thinkering Talks group on Facebook. You can get us there at Thinkering Talks. If you want to check out what we do on our separate podcasts, Keelan's got a podcast. It's called If Numbers Could Talk. It's on at Tuesday nights at 8 p.m. Be sure to subscribe to his YouTube channel and his Facebook page, If Numbers Could Talk. Dijon the Mustard's got a Twitch channel out. It is Tuesdays and Thursdays at 10 p.m. Make sure you go check him out. Give his Twitch channel a subscription. It's called Strawberries and Coffee. And he's got a YouTube page that he posts all of his streams the next day. So you can give that a subscription as well. That way you can always catch the back catalog of recordings that he does. I got a podcast called Exofathom. It's on Mondays at 8 p.m. Tomorrow night we're going to be talking about, and since we watched Empty Man, I was inspired to do an episode on tulpas. So we will be talking about tulpas tomorrow, which are imaginary friends that you dump your psychic energy in, and perhaps they come alive. Perhaps they don't. We'll have to find out. Yeah, Monday, tomorrow at 8 p.m. Exofathom. I have a Facebook page and a YouTube page. Please go check that out if you like. But if you're purist at heart and just want to hear us blabber on about movies and TV and critique things for which we have no credentials to critique, thank you for taking this trip through the Screen Time Continuum with us. For Screen Time Continuum, I am Nick.
I am Keelan.
And I'm the Mustard.
Good night.